You, as a group, are so important to the future of our country, and particularly to the growth that we all want for America's future. In America, since our recovery began, women have created 1 out of every 4 new businesses. In the past decade, the number of women-owned businesses in America has grown at an annual rate of more than 9%, while the growth rate in sales has been 3 times that of businesses owned by men. You know, when you think of all that women entrepreneurs have meant to our country since the recovery began, it just goes to show that when it comes to creating new jobs, new technologies, and new businesses in America, a woman's work is never done.
The 40th President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan, in December of 1986, addressing a group of women entrepreneurs on their impact and the future of our country, as we welcome you back here to America's Forum.
Yeah, this address follows Ronald Reagan's 1984 landslide win for president. This election is regarded as the biggest GOP win ever, with Reagan taking 49 of 50 states, 525 electoral votes, and over 50% of the popular vote, as well as the women's votes. No GOP candidate has achieved this since. Furthermore, no more than 10% of women's votes have gone to the right since.
Well, I got to check that electoral math, but it's worth asking the question, so why the modern disconnection between the GOP and women? For more on that story, let's turn to women's rights advocate, political commentator, and the founder of the website ReaganBaby.com. It's Megan Barth Skyping in this morning from Orange County, California, and staying with us, representing the left, as is his wont, is our good friend Ellis Hinniken, who's at Newsmax, New York. So Megan, Reagan had it all together. You've got the website ReaganBaby.org, I believe, or ReaganBaby.com. What was it about Reagan that made him successful with women?
Hi, JD. I think it was because he simply spoke in economic terms, very simple economic terms. He didn't speak to women like a special class or a special interest group. He spoke to us as he would any American. He wanted us to realize the American dream through our own ingenuity and hard work, and the ability to do so through a smaller and more effective government. He encouraged us to rise through a smaller government where there is less regulation, so we are able to achieve our dreams and not be working for the government, but working for our families, working for ourselves, and working for our own basic needs. And also, you know, in order to prosper and take care of our families or take care of ourselves. So I think his message was very simple. If you look at the platform, the Republican platform of 1984, it's a very simple message. He speaks to all people. He doesn't speak to certain segments of people. And I really think that obviously brought women to the polls, where he garnered 56% of the women's vote and annihilated whatever gender gap existed.
So, Megan, let's fast forward now from 1984 to 2016. Mrs. Clinton is presumed to be the frontrunner for the Democrats. She and the left have claimed this so-called war on women. But take a listen to what the former CEO of Hewlett-Packard had to say about it at this year's CPAC.
She tweets about women's rights in this country and takes money from governments that deny women the most basic human rights. She tweets about equal pay for women, but will not answer basic questions about her own office's pay standards.
And that was Carly Fiorina, and has also said that Mrs. Clinton is leading the war on women. Is she right?
Well, on ReaganBaby.com, you can see an article I did, Hillary Clinton and the Axis of Misogyny, and Carly Fiorina was exactly right. On one side of the mouth, she is claiming herself to be a women's champion and a women's advocate, but in her left hand, she's accepting through the Clinton Foundation $50 million from misogynistic nations. So what is it, Hillary? Is she going to protect women, or is she going to look the other way when women are being abused? And this is
so,
such
Megan,
a
let me Megan, let me cut through some of the Reagan hagiography and the Hillary bashing here. Let's just talk some practical politics, right? Over the past several decades, the Republican Party has been against most female politicians on issues like equal pay, on issues like abortion choice, on family leave issues, on a whole panoply of issues that are of concern to most American women, so other than at the far, far right. I mean, isn't that the reason the Republicans keep doing poorly among women?
I would disagree with you on a couple points there, and one is the abortion issue. When you look at the statistics, women and men have very similar voting records when it comes to abortion, and when you look at the pro-life movement, it's growing every year. Secondly, equal pay for equal work. Well, you might want to talk to Hillary and Barack about that, because in their administration, even through the 2009 Lilly Ledbetter Act, which Barack Obama signed and made into law, did not narrow that gap. In their administrations, both women earned 71 cents on the dollar as their male counterparts. So they might talk a good game, but they're certainly not playing the game.
Megan,
how about this theory, though, Megan? Maybe women aren't dumb. Maybe they look at these issues and say one party is more aligned to my interests than the other. I mean, don't the voting totals provide some pretty strong evidence that women are making that judgment?
I think in the last, few elections, obviously there has been this gender gap. But I also think that you have a very complicit press and you have a hypocritical Democratic Party. And I think that women are way too busy working too hard for the government instead of for their families, starting businesses, being housewives, being the house managers, in order to really pay attention to what is going on. And being hyperactive, politically active, rather.
And
so if they're just getting their news from the mainstream media, they're getting, in my opinion, a very biased report.
which is why we're so glad to have you on Newsmax TV, since we're not the media, we're Newsmax. Right. Megan Barth, we could add to that list of women's endeavors, designing and founding websites, as you did with ReaganBaby.com. We hope you'll come back and see us again real soon as we talk about these issues, as Megan Skypes in this morning from Orange County, California. Orange County, California, over there on the left coast.
Right.
And there's a whole nation in between, and that's why right now we need a check of our national weather update.
Weekend time.
With Jessica Reyes.
Hello, I'm Jessica Reyes, and here's your weather for your Friday. We start off with some good news, fairly warm conditions for our friends by the Pacific coastline, with daytime highs reaching between the 70s and 80s. Record challenging conditions for the Southwest. Daytime high of 91 for Fresno. Feeling summer-like in Los Angeles, with a daytime high reaching the mid-90s at 94 degrees. Not so much for the Great Lakes area. High pressure pushing through, which means no rain for us, but daytime highs only reaching the lower 30s, so bundle up as you head out into parts of Houston for today. A lot warmer, with mainly sunny skies into Houston and Dallas as well. And then across the southeast, unfortunately, we're dealing with showers and thunderstorms, a threat of severe weather, so keeping a close eye on all of that. Across the northeast, a lot of that rain is going to push through. And here are some of your daytime highs for your Friday. Have a good weekend.
Getting there. We're warming up slowly but surely.
Yep, the weekend is upon us, and we hope you have a good one, but we don't want you to get ready for that weekend too soon.
Yeah.
We've got
Stay right there.
Lots more coming up. For example, our friend Ellis Hinniken, who offers the perspective from the left. He's
good to have him.
Good to have his input. He is going to engage in our political panel as Terry Jeffrey represents the right. So we'll get the right and left.
Should
and
be
of course,
interesting.
There's right and there's wrong. I'm not saying that about Ellis, or am I? There's more ahead here on America's Forum. Stay tuned.